Hi, this is AJ with your next lesson. The rest of the lessons are going to be a little bit different than what you've had up to now. In the rest of these lessons, I'm going to talk about some book or article or idea. I'll probably read a little bit of it, just so you can get the general idea of the topic, and then I'll talk about that topic. And of course, we'll have our same mini stories. We're going to have our vocabulary lessons, and we're going to add one more kind of lesson. The point of view lesson. The point of view lesson is really great for learning grammar in an intuitive way. Alright, so let's get started. This lesson is called the Kaizen way. So we're going to talk about a book. The book is called The Kaizen Way by Robert Moore. Now, Kaizen is a Japanese word, although we use it in English now a little bit, especially in business, and find it a lot. Kaizen. Kaizen, as our Japanese students already know, means small improvements over time. It really means constant and never-ending improvement, but it has this idea of making a little tiny improvements again and again and again and again, for 1 week, for 1 month, for 1 year, forever. So Kaizen is kind of the opposite of innovation. Innovation means a certain big change, a certain big improvement, and that's a great way to learn and improve. For example, you could study English very intensely for 1 month or 2 months, and you would make a big, certain improvement. That's the innovation idea, but there's another way you can improve, and that is the Kaizen way. And the Kaizen way means maybe you just listen to English or read English or study English. Maybe you just do it 20 minutes every day. And every day you improve just a little bit, but the secret is you do it every single day. Every day you make one little improvement. Well, after 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, you will make a huge change just by making little tiny improvements over time. That's the idea of Kaizen. So I'm going to read a little bit from the Kaizen way, just a couple paragraphs, and then I'll talk about it more. Okay, so here's the section. It's called Kaizen tip, and this is from Robert Moore. Maurer. That's his last name. Okay, Kaizen tip. You want to do something creative, write a story or a song, paint a picture, dream up your perfect career, learn something, or come up with a jingle of a solution to an office problem, but you have no idea where to start. Your mind keeps coming up empty during times like these. Kaizen can help you summon your powers of inspiration. Although you can't force your brain to cough up creative ideas on demand, and you can program to launch the imaginative process simply by asking yourself a small question. Here are some of the most popular small questions my clients use for creativity. Feel free to come up with your own. Whatever question you use, your challenge is to ask it with a gentle and patient spirit. When you use harsh or urgent tones with yourself, fear will clog the creative process. So here are some questions you can ask yourself. Number 1, what's one thing I wish to contribute to the world with my project or idea? Number 2, whom could I ask for help or inspiration? Number 3, what is special about my creative process, about my talents, about my team? Number 4, what type of work could excite and fulfill me? Number 5, what small tiny change could I make now, today, to improve? Remember, if you repeat the question for several days or weeks, or however long it takes, the hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that stores information, you have no choice but to address it. And in its own way, on its own timetable, the brain will begin giving you answers. Okay, that's the section from the Kaizen way. So this is very interesting from Robert Morrow here. This technique of asking small questions to yourself is very powerful. You can use it for anything. You can use it for learning English, of course. You could ask yourself small questions every day. For example, how could I improve today just a little bit? Or how could I improve my pronunciation 2% this week? The important part of asking these questions is that you must be small questions. So don't say, how could I be totally perfect with English in 1 month? That's a huge question, and often you feel stressed or worry or fear if you ask this gigantic question. And you think, oh my God, I don't know, can I do it? But if you ask a very small question, it seems so small, so easy. Your brain will say, oh, I can do that, that's easy. And then you will start to take action. And of course, action is the most important part. Action is what we need. So if you try to ask big questions, you're trying to improve very fast and you're feeling stressed. Maybe you can change your strategy. Try the Kaizen way. Instead, ask yourself a little small questions. How could I improve just a little bit? How could I learn just one new word each day? How could I improve my pronunciation just a tiny bit each week? Ask yourself these little questions. And another point from this article, you need to repeat the questions again and again and again. You have to ask the same question or questions every day for 1 week or 2 weeks or maybe even a couple months. And by asking yourself these questions again every day, you're asking the same question. Your brain must come up with an answer. Your brain must find an answer. It will find answers. It keep asking questions. Your brain will give you answers. It will give you better and better answers the more you ask these small questions. So anytime you have some big goal, some big project that seems so difficult, try the Kaizen way. Try to approach this problem with little small tiny improvements. Ask yourself little small easy questions every day, again and again and again. Your brain will get more energy, it will find the answers. You get momentum, you start to take action, and then after 1 month you take bigger actions. After 2 to 3 months, bigger actions. Actually, these improvements start to grow. The improvements get bigger and faster and faster. That's the magic of the Kaizen way. It seems so small and tiny, it seems so easy, but over time it builds. It grows stronger and stronger. So try this method, try the Kaizen way, and again the book title is the Kaizen way. That's Kaizen, Kaizen, the Kaizen way by Robert Moore. Alright, and remember, of course, keep your psychology strong, keep your physiology strong. I hope you're smiling right now. I hope those shoulders are back. Chin up, lots of energy. Don't forget that every single lesson you must be smiling. You must be moving. You must have energy in your body. That's how you're going to learn English much faster. Okay, I will see you next time. Hi, this is AJ. Time for the next lesson. Now this is one of my favorite topics by one of my favorite people, so I want you to be extra happy, extra strong body and physiology for this one. So stand up straight, get those shoulders back, chest up, breathe deep, get that air going in there. Energize your body, big, super big smile, huge smile, and make everyone think you're super crazy. And now move your body. Come on, get it moving now. If you're standing, you just kind of wiggle around. Move those arms, move those legs. If you can, start walking. Get the blood going, get that energy going. Let's go. Are you ready? And this lesson is called The Power of Reading, and it comes from an article by Dr. Stephen Gresham. He's one of my favorite people in the world. Dr. Stephen Gresham is probably the #1 expert on language learning and language teaching in the world. He is just an incredible professor, an incredible researcher, an incredible intellectual. He has done an incredible amount of research on the topic of learning languages. And today we're going to talk about just one part of his research. Really, effortless English is based a lot on Dr. Stephen Gresham's research, all of the methods we use, but we're going to talk about just one particular method, one particular idea, very strong idea that comes from Dr. Stephen Gresham and his research. And that is the power of reading. Specifically, it's the power of pleasure reading. It's the power of easy reading. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But first, let me read the little bit from this article. Now this article, as you might guess, is about the power of reading, and Dr. Gresham did a lot of research about reading. Specifically about how do the people, native speakers and people learning foreign languages, how do they learn vocabulary, how do they get good grammar, how do they get excellent writing skills. One of the most important methods is reading for pleasure. Now when we talk about reading, there are kind of two different ways to learn reading. Even for small children learning a native language, now one method, the old method, is that you learn reading skills. So you have to study and analyze vocabulary. For example, spelling in English is very difficult and tough, so we have to study that a lot in school. Well, we don't have to, but often with old methods and old teachers we do. We study spelling. We study vocabulary, and we learn all these skills. We use all these textbooks to learn reading. And of course, people learning new language, foreign language, well, guess what? You do the same things, right? You learn textbooks, you're reading all these textbooks, and you're trying to learn all these reading skills. Now the other way, the other method, and this is the method in fact that works much better according to Dr. Kaizen's research. According to a lot of other research, it's just reading for fun. Imagine that, and what that means is reading a lot of easy books. Now for children that might be comic books, it might be just children's novels, and it's just reading. In other words, we learn to read by reading. We learn vocabulary from reading. We learn a lot of our program from reading. We learn our writing skills from reading, and not by analyzing and studying grammar, not by trying to memorize vocabulary. If you read something very easy, you know most of the words. And then you find a new word, you don't need to memorize it. You will start to understand that word just because you understand the general meaning of the story. You understand the whole paragraph. You understand the sentence. So that one word you can guess the meaning, you then guess what happens. You see that new word again somewhere else in the book, and then you start. It's in a different situation, a little bit different paragraph, a little bit different sentence, and now you understand it a little more. And then you see it again in another paragraph somewhere else in the book, and over time you will naturally learn that word. You never try to memorize it. You will never study it, but you will learn it. You will know it forever. That's the best way to learn vocabulary. There's a lot of research about this. They compare people who try to memorize vocabulary with books, textbooks that is, and then other people who learn just by reading easy books all the time. They're reading novels all the time. They're reading. Which group of people learns more vocabulary faster? The readers. The people who are just reading for fun, they're just reading a lot of fun, easy novels and books. Those people have much bigger vocabularies than people who are actually trying to study vocabulary. It's the same for grammar. People who are studying grammar study grammar rules, study grammar textbooks. And then other people who are just reading lots of novels. They're reading all the time. Comic books, novels, articles, stories. The readers have better grammar than the people who are studying grammar from textbooks. It's a huge difference, and the more you read over time, the bigger the difference and the better your grammar gets compared to people who are using textbooks. So this is a huge topic. It is so important. So let me read a little bit from Dr. Kaizen, and then we'll talk a little more. Okay, this is from Dr. Kaizen. When second language learners read for pleasure, they learn the competence they need to move from the beginning ordinary conversational level to a level where you can use the second language for more demanding purposes, such as the serious study of literature, business, and so on. When they read for pleasure, they can continue to improve in their second language without classes, without teachers, without study, and even without people to converse with. When we read, we really have no choice. We must develop literacy. We rarely find well-read people who have serious problems with grammar, spelling, and so on. They write acceptably well because they can help it. They have subconsciously acquired a good writing style, as well as the conventions of writing. Our problem in language education, as Frank Smith has pointed out, is that we have confused cause and effect. We have assumed that we first learn language skills and then apply these skills to reading and writing, but that is not the way the human brain works. Rather, reading for meaning, reading about things that matter to us is the cause of language development. So very interesting. What does that mean? What it means is that you don't first learn skills. You learn writing skills. You learn spelling skills. You learn how to do a sentence. You learn how to make a paragraph. And then later you can read and write well. That's exactly the opposite of what it actually happens. What actually happens is you read and you read and you read. You read sentences, you read paragraphs, you read stories, you read books, you read novels, and after reading so much, you subconsciously, you intuitively acquire, learn great reading skills, great writing skills, great vocabulary, great grammar. It comes from reading a lot for pleasure. The reading comes first, and in fact, I would add listening to that. And Dr. Kaizen adds that as well. This article is about reading, but in fact, listening is the same thing. So when you're reading and listening a lot, that's the first step, and you need to do so much of it. You've got to read and listen for pleasure, for fun, a lot. Now the good news is you have to do it a lot, but it's fun. It's easy. You're listening to stuff you like, so it's okay. You're reading stuff you enjoy. You're not thinking about grammar rules. You're not thinking about vocabulary. You're just reading and listening and enjoying yourself. You do that first. The grammar skills then come later. They come from the listening and the reading. The writing skills come from reading a lot. Your vocabulary comes from reading a lot and listening too. Your pronunciation comes from listening a lot. It's the input that is the most important, and specific kind of input. It's got to be meaningful, real, enjoyable, pleasurable. So that's the power of reading. Now I'm not going to talk about all the specific research studies in this book, but if you like, get his book. The book is called The Power of Reading. That's the title, The Power of Reading. It's by Dr. Stephen Kaizen, and now Stephen is spelled Stephen, and Kaizen is spelled Krasen. So Dr. Stephen Kaizen, and the book title, The Power of Reading. And you can get it on Amazon.com. So if you want to see all the huge number of research studies at different universities around the world about this topic of reading and learning better grammar skills, better vocabulary, better speaking, better pronunciation, if you want to see the proof, the evidence, and then get his book. You can look at all the different studies. There's so many of them. But if you trust me, you can take my word for it. You can trust that I am trying to help you as best I can, that I really care about you. You can trust that this is in fact how it works. that if you want to write well, if you want to have a great English vocabulary, if you want to have great English grammar, you need to read and read and read. And what you need to read are novels. Novels are the key. Easy novels. So here's my rule. What does easy mean for you? My rule is you should not need a dictionary to read a book. So if you let's say you read a book by Stephen King, kind of a famous writer in the United States, you get the Stephen King book in English, of course, and you start reading it, but there's so many words you don't know, and you need a dictionary. You get your dictionary and you're looking up all these words. Well, it's too difficult for you. If you need a dictionary to understand it, it's too difficult, okay? So, put it aside and wait. You can read it later when your reading skills are higher. But for now, find an easier book. I recommend children's novels. I think they are a fantastic way to learn. You can get the Goosebumps books, for example. There's a whole series. They're for kids. They're called Goosebumps, and I don't know how many. There's probably 30 or 50 of them, okay? They're short and they're pretty easy. You can probably read them without a dictionary. What you should do is read all of them. Read all 30 of them. Read them. Just enjoy them. Don't use a dictionary. If you see a word you don't know, just guess the meaning and keep reading. If you're wrong, it doesn't matter. You see that word again and again and again. Eventually, you will understand that word. You won't need a dictionary, just enjoy the story. Another set of books I like are the Hardy Boys books. These are so old. I read them when I was a kid, and there's another series of books called Nancy Drew. So the Hardy Boys books and the Nancy Drew books, another set of kids books. Kids novels. They're fairly long, but not too long. That are really great if you want to do a lot of leisure reading that does not require a dictionary. So again, Nancy Drew books and the Hardy Boys books. And again, there are so many of them, 20, 30 or more in each series. You can read the whole series if you want to. And of course, you can just go to any bookstore that has English books. Look in the children's section or the young adult section. Another series of books I like are by Ronald Dahl. I think Dahl is D-A-H-L, if I'm right. Anyway, he wrote books such as Chocolate and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach. He's got a lot of books, so you could look for some of those. And of course, there are movies that go with those books, so you could watch the movies too and listen to them. You can also get audio books. This is something I think is really great. If you can find an audio book and a regular book, you can read it and then you can listen to it at the same time and again using children's novels. So read a lot of children's novels, and after you finish all the Hardy Boys books, and after you finish all the Goosebumps books, and then find a book maybe by Stephen King. Or maybe if that's still too difficult, and then find something for young adults, and then read a lot of those books eventually, probably within 1 year's time. If you're reading all the time, if you're reading every day, within 1 year, you'll be reading adult novels. You'll be reading the same books that I read for pleasure, for fun, that native speakers read. But don't start there. Go back and just start with children's novels and read and read and read. Your grammar will improve automatically and effortlessly. Your vocabulary will explode. It will increase so much so fast. You won't believe it. It's amazing. So please follow this. Reading is so powerful, but it has to be reading for fun, reading for pleasure. Alright, I hope you enjoy this topic. I'll see you next time.
Okay, hello, it's me again, AJ, and we're back for another lesson. This lesson is called Unlimited Power. Great title, and of course, it comes from the book by Tony Robbins, who is another one of my favorite teachers. In fact, I really love Tony. I just got back from a seminar of his. He is fantastic, and I highly recommend his books, his tapes, his CDs, his seminars. Anything you can get from Tony Robbins, fantastic. And we're going to again do a little excerpt, a little section from one of his books, and this section talks about the number one trait that determines success and happiness in Tony Robbins' opinion. And I agree with him, and that number one trait, and that one factor, that one thing, and that really creates success and powers and gives energy to everything else in passion. So this is a little section about passion from Tony Robbins' book, Unlimited Power. So I am just going to go ahead and read that section, and then I will talk about it more. So here we go. Success is not an accident. The difference between people who produce positive results and those who do not is not some sort of random roll of the dice. There are consistent logical patterns of action, specific pathways to excellence that are within the reach of us all. We can unleash the magic within us. We simply must learn how to turn on and use our minds and bodies in the most powerful and advantageous ways. Have you ever wondered what a Steven Spielberg or Bruce Springsteen might have in common? What do John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. share that caused them to affect so many people in such a deep and emotional way? And they have been able to get themselves to consistently take effective actions toward the accomplishment of their dreams. But what is it that got them to continue day after day to put everything they've got into everything they do? And there are of course many factors. However, I believe there are fundamental character traits that they have cultivated within themselves, characteristics that give them the fire to do whatever it takes to succeed. These are the traits that can ensure your success as well. Trait number one, passion. All of these people have discovered a reason, a consuming, energizing, almost obsessive purpose that drives them to do, to grow, and to be more. It gives them the fuel that powers their success and causes them to tap their true potential. It's passion that drives the computer scientist through years of dedication to create a kind of breakthroughs that have put men and women in outer space and brought them back. It's passion that causes people to stay up late and get up early. It's passion that people want in their relationships. Passion gives power and meaning. There is no greatness without a passion to be great. Whether it's the aspiration of an athlete or an artist, a scientist, a student, a parent, or a business person, discover how to unleash this inner force of passion within yourself. Okay, so Tony Robbins, you can tell he's a very passionate guy himself, very passionate. And I really love this session because all the things we talked about until now, and they really are about passion. Changing your body, changing your focus, changing your beliefs, or what you are doing is finding that passion inside of you, that energy, that incredible physical and mental and emotional energy that will have you succeed at anything. Without energy, it's hard to succeed. Without energy, it's hard to do anything. If you have no energy, you can't exercise. If you have no energy, probably your relationships will be bad. If you have no energy, you're not going to learn English very well. You're not going to learn anything very well. If you have no energy, you're not going to be a good teacher. You're not going to be a good father. You're not going to be a good mother. Nothing in your life will be excellent or even very good if you don't have that energy and that passion. The passion drives everything else. It's the fuel. It's like the gasoline for your engine, for everything. And so, to learn English, for example, you need to develop a passion for English, exciting reasons to learn English, and not just take a test. Taking a test, who gets excited about taking a test? Almost nobody. In fact, usually it's the opposite, right? Most of us get stressed about taking a test. Most of us have fear about taking tests. And it's the same in schools, and not just English. All of education in almost every country kills passion. Most classrooms, high school, elementary school, middle school, university, they kill passion. They kill that energy in the student, unfortunately. It probably happened to you. It certainly happened to me when I was growing up. It's happened to 99.9% of the students I have taught. When it comes to me, their passion has been diminished, lessened, or even almost killed. The good news is it's never completely killed. You can fight it again because naturally as human beings we love to learn. Our brains love learning, so sitting in little desks and taking tests and being criticized by teachers and getting grades, all that bullshit, all that scrap is kills passion. It may have killed the passion in you, so just forget about it. That part of your life is over. Thank God, yes, it's over. And now you're in charge, and now you are responsible. Now you are learning because you want to learn, so do it again. Do it in a way that gives you that passion, that gives you that excitement. 5 reasons to learn English that you love, that are exciting. If you're single, maybe you could get a girlfriend or a boyfriend by speaking English. That would be fun. Date someone from another country because of your great English skills. That could be great if you're a business person or want to be one. Maybe you could make tons of money, lots and lots of money because of your great English skills. That could be great. If you're a parent, maybe because of your excellent English ability, you could help your children learn English. Not the way you did, not the terrible way that is taught in schools, but in a much better way, a way that excites them so that your children have great opportunities in the future. Those are exciting reasons to learn English. Maybe you could just make a lot of friends. Maybe you could make friends in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, in other countries, because we use English to connect with people in every country of the world. You could make friends in Japan, in Korea, in China, or through Europe, or through Asia, or through South America, Central America. You could have an incredible web of friendships, international friendships all over the world. You could find incredible, interesting books written in English. Maybe you can't find them in your language. And so many cool, interesting opportunities open to you by being excellent with English, because right now, at this moment in history, English is the international language. We use it for science. When scientists in different countries want to communicate, they use English. We use it for business. We use it for relationships. We use it so many ways right now. So that's why you're learning English, and not to take some stupid test. So find the reasons that make you feel passionate about learning English, and in your life in general, find things in your life that make you feel passionate. Get that energy going, and not just with English, but with everything in your life, and your life will just feel so much more interesting and exciting. You will get this kind of energy, the kind of energy you hear in your voice, the kind of energy you see if you ever see Tony Robbins or read his books or listen to him. Anybody who is doing well, anybody who is excited, anyone who has that energy is because of this passion. They have passionate, interesting, compelling, exciting reasons to learn, to do what they do. For those, and you will get that energy too. Alright, that is the end of this article. See you for the vocabulary lesson. And remember, smile, get that body moving. The first part of passion starts with your body. Get the energy in your body. So those deep breaths, the chest up, the big smile is very important because it's the first step to developing this passion, this energy. Okay, see you next time. Hello, this is AJ again. Welcome to our next lesson. This one is called Healthy at 100. Healthy at 100 is the name of a book by John Robbins. It's a fantastic book, very interesting, and the topic of this book is exactly what the title says. The topic of this book is how to be a healthy person at the age of 100, which seems kind of amazing to most people. Can you be healthy? Can you be strong? Can you have energy when you're 100 years old? And the answer is absolutely yes. And now, how did John Robbins write this book? It's very interesting. Well, what he did personally, and then with his research assistants, he studied cultures, places in the world where large numbers of people live to be very old. But not only just live to be old, because you know, if you live to be old but you're weak, that's not very fun. So he studied places that had a lot of very old people who were also very strong, very energetic, very healthy, very happy. There's a big difference if you're 90 years old and you're in a nursing home and you're weak and sick and old. That's a terrible life. But if you're 90 years old and you're out running and you feel great, wow, that's fantastic. And there are cultures like this, and there are also a lot of individual people like this. And when I say a lot, I don't mean a lot by percentage. It's a small percent of the human population, but still there are thousands of these kind of people. I don't know, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but you can find these people. You can find specific cultures where there are a lot of them, and then you can find individuals. And so John Robbins was very curious about this, and he wanted to know why. Why do some people live strong, long, healthy, active lives for a very, very long time? Why are some people so strong when they were older and lived so much longer? And then other people, you know, they're 60 years old, they're already tired and sick. What's the differences? What he wanted to know. And so he studied different groups. One of the groups were people, traditional people on the island of Okinawa, Japan. So we're not talking Okinawa now has a lot of modern culture, a lot of American influence, and those people do not live so long and they're not so healthy. But the kind of people who live on Okinawa in a traditional way, the way they always have for a very long time, those people are very special. They live very long lives and they're very strong and healthy. They're still working when they're 80 or 90 years old, working like on farms like hard physical work. He studied another group of people in Pakistan, same thing. They lived to be 90, 100, over 100, and the whole time they're working, doing heavy, hard physical work. It's pretty amazing. And then another thing they did is they study individual people. There are just certain people. For example, one of my favorite teachers, he's dead now, but I think he's a great example. I want to be like him, and his name is Paul Bragg. Paul Bragg was in America one of the first people to start health food stores. He kind of started the health movement in America. He was one of the first people to start eating organic food. For example, well, Paul Bragg, he is so interesting. He died when he was, I believe, 96 years old. You know, that's pretty good itself. He lived to be 96, but here's the cool part. This is the part I love. How did he die when he was in 96? Was he in a bad shape with cancer? No, he was surfing. He was surfing when he was 96 years old, and it was a surfing accident. Like, I don't know what happened. I guess he was surfing and he fell off the board, and another surfboard hit him in the head, or he hit the rock or something. You know, it's said that he died, of course, but he died active. He's out on the wave surfing in the ocean, and he's 96 years old. Awesome. Or Jack LaLanne, another great guy from the United States. In fact, he learned from Paul Bragg. He's still alive today. He's 90 years old, and he's still super energetic. He exercises constantly. He swims, he runs, he lifts weights. His wife also. They're both like 90-something years old, and they're just so strong and healthy. We can find a lot of people like this actually, and what's really interesting when you compare Paul Bragg, Jack LaLanne, and these different peoples in Okinawa, in Pakistan, other parts of the world. They have similar things. They're all doing similar things. There's a reason. It's not a roll of the dice. Remember that phrase? It's not a roll of the dice. It's not luck. And it's not because of the family members, because Paul Bragg's father and mother didn't live really long and really strong. It's something they are doing, so that's what this book is about. Healthy at 100, and one of the things they study in the book is cancer. Why do some people get cancer at a high rate and other people very, very low rate of cancer? Let me read a little section from the book now. And it's about cancer, and it discusses the reason, or one of the biggest reasons. And it's titled Cancer and Animal Foods. Here we go. If the correlation between cancer and animal food consumption is indeed powerful, and you would expect many studies to find a connection between the two. It turns out there are many. For example, a study of 122,000 female American nurses found that those women who ate meat daily were 2.5 times more likely to get colon cancer than those women who ate meat less than once a month. In 2001, a comprehensive Harvard review of the research on dairy products and prostate cancer found that those who had over the course of their lives consumed the most dairy products had double the rate of prostate cancer and 4 times the rate of metastatic prostate cancer. A high intake of fruits and vegetables, on the other hand, was associated with a lower risk of advanced prostate cancer. Other studies, including the famous Physicians' Health Study, have also confirmed a link between dairy product consumption and prostate cancer, and the study of more than 12,000 men found that those who drank soy milk regularly rather than cow's milk had a whopping 70% reduction in their risk of prostate cancer. Today, men in China who age still eating their traditional plant-based diet without any dairy products have one of the lowest rates of prostate cancer in the world. And no one can say these low rates are due to a genetic advantage, because Chinese American men living in the United States eating the standard American diet have rates 10 times as high as the genetic counterparts still eating in the traditional way in China. Okay. That's a little bit different section, a little bit scientific, and some long sentences there. Let me just explain what it means. So basically, he's talking about a lot of research related to cancer, and here's what they find. The basic result: the more animal food you eat, so does meat and dairy, and higher your risk for cancer. The higher the rate of cancer, the less you eat, the lower the rate of cancer. So strict vegetarians, which are called vegans, have the lowest rates of cancer in the world. People who eat lots and lots of meat and drink a lot of milk and eat a lot of cheese, they have the highest rates of cancer in the world. Interesting. That's one reason I'm a vegetarian, to be honest. And another thing that you find is these people like Paul Bragg, like Jack LaLanne, these different people in different parts of the world. They may not be total strict vegetarians. However, they eat very little meat. They almost never drink milk or dairy products or eat cheese. They are eating a lot of fresh organic vegetables, basically, and of course fruits as well. I mean, that's the big secret. Yes, you've got to exercise and move your body. That's another part of the book. He talks about that diet is one big factor, but also moving your body and getting a lot of exercise and physical activity, of course, is very important as well. And those two factors are the biggest factors in determining how long you will live, and how healthy you will be, how strong you will be, how much energy you will have in your body. So, I never tell people be a vegetarian because it's a personal choice. I think people need to decide on their own. However, if your goal is to be a very healthy, strong person, live a long time, reduce your risk for cancer, heart disease, and a lot of other things, you should think about it. You should at least reduce your meat and dairy intake a lot. And again, don't just believe me. Maybe I'm just crazy, AJ. Go look at the scientific research. Get the book Healthy at 100 by John Robbins. And there's a lot of other stuff out there. Do your research and get on the internet if you want to and do some research. But I encourage you reduce the amount of fat and meat and cheese and milk and all that stuff. Get it out of your food. Get it out of your diet. Keep it out of your body and start eating a whole lot more vegetables and fruit. And get some real healthy, vital, and energetic food into your body, and you're going to feel a lot better, and you're going to get the same kind of energy that people like Paul Bragg have, that Jack LaLanne has, that Tony Robbins has, that I have. Alright, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.